So anyways, let's get back to this. So I'm in Las Vegas right now, and I have to tell you, the landscape of this town just keeps changing. Like, I didn't realize, like, out here right now, you know that DJ music? That wham 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 bam 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 boop 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 boop. Oh my God! Ooh 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 ooh. That shit, like, is the biggest fucking thing ever out here in Las Vegas right now. The highest paid entertainers are all those DJs. Whoop, whoop, whip, whoop, 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 whip, whoop. That shit. That shit is the biggest fucking thing. Pause. Right? We get it, Bill. Okay. Yeah, so that fucking shit is huge. There is literally out here these fucking clubs. I mean, these casinos are building these clubs. They have more clubs than they actually have, like, legitimate DJs. And I was reading this thing. A lot of literal stuff, Bill. We get it. You're not lying to us. I was reading this article called DJ Wars, Inside the Las Vegas Battle for the World's Top Electronic Music Talent. Now, these fucking guys, like, I don't know who any of them are because I'm old. Afrojack, Calvin Harris. I don't know who any of these guys are. A couple of their songs, I've heard them, though. You know, because my wife watches Keeping Up with the Kardashians and shit, and they're always playing that. And then the Iranian one, the Shahs of Sunset. Where they got that dude, the gay guy on that show, looks like Freddie Mercury fucked Joseph Stalin. He looks like gay Saddam Hussein is what he looks like. He's a fucking riot because he's always stirring shit up between the ladies. He absolutely loves it, and he's so fucking passive-aggressive. He'll be like, hey, so what did Miranda say when she called you this? What happened? And then I'm doing a hacky gay accent. He fucking, I don't know, whatever. Stay on the topic, Bill. So these fucking DJs, dude, like, they're making, like, what does they say here? Which once was $100 million. Dude, that's it. Whatever. They're building these clubs. They're these giant, like, square rooms. And they just pack in like 5,000, 6,000 young, beautiful people. And the dude or whatever, I don't know if there's any women DJs. There's got to be. Whatever. The men and women DJs go up there. And they're not just playing records like I thought. I guess they come up with that shit. They come up with that. That's theirs. That's not a sample from like fucking John Lennon imitating one of the Three Stooges. This is their original shit. So they fucking go up there. They're famous across. I know a lot of you guys already know this shit. I don't know. They are fucking world famous. They got to lug all their mixes and all their shit around the world, their giant mouse heads and all this stuff. And they just go out there and they play their shit and they're making $1 zillion. So anyways, out here in Vegas, that's how they're making all the money. That's how they're packing out the casinos are these DJs. And they barely promote anything else. I guess that is the deal. But they try to say that the young kids don't really gamble. And they just come out and they get fucked up and they go to these DJ shows and they're able to make their money. But I don't want to like name names. I mean, the article basically names names and says how much money they're making. I think that's a little fucking tacky. But they were saying one guy made like $58 million last year playing that shit to these kids. And I got to tell you something. If you're in a fucking casino and they don't have that DJ music going on, I swear to God, like the casinos I was in last night, at 46 years of age, I was kind of like the youngest person in the casino. It was fucking unreal. was looking around going like, where is everybody? It's just a bunch of old people just sitting there. And I guess they're all at these other casinos that have these DJ rooms. So here's the funny thing. The typical fucking thing. So this is the big war now. So all these fucking casinos are building these giant square rooms, and then they're fighting over, the top DJs to get them there, and they're like doubling the asking prices and all that. It's going through the fucking roof, and it's literally reminding me of the stand-up comedy boom. Because like right now they have more rooms than they actually have legitimate people that can fill up the rooms, and they pack in like 5,000-6,000 people a night. But I guess that's down from like 7,000-8,000, and it's the exact same thing that I can't say I saw it in stand-up comedy, but right when I started stand-up comedy, I started in March of 1992. Yeah, I know, I'm old. They had basically, at that point, the fallout had already begun from having more comedy clubs than you actually had comedians. So what happens is, obviously, then you just start, anybody with a pulse, they just start sticking up there behind the microphone going, what's the deal with everything, right? And, and it just went down the shitter. And I just don't fucking get why they keep doing this. It's like you got a great thing, EDM, electronic dance music, I guess is what it's called. And, well, I guess, yeah, because if you don't have it, there's a bunch of old people like me at your fucking casino. I've never seen the distance between young people and old people greater in the entire time that I've been coming out to Las Vegas, which has been since the late 90s. I've never seen it bigger. But you used to see a decent mix of people in the casino. And then like certain places like the Hard Rock Cafe Casino, whatever the fuck they called it, that was like the place to go. And you went in there and there was a bunch of young kids in there. And by kids, I just mean people in their 20s. But basically all the other ones were kind of like, it was a decent fucking mix of people. And there were people gambling. And now, I don't know, the tables and shit were dead. Granted, it's a fucked up time to come out here. Hockey and basketball are over, so a lot of the sports books are kind of drying up. But, like, it's going to be interesting to see when this bubble bursts exactly what is going to happen and what the fuck they're going to... They don't give a shit. I was going to say what they were going to do with their rooms. Those giant square rooms, what they can turn them into. So right now, yeah, you basically have ventriloquists or that fucking that EDM music out here, and I don't know, man. It's a I just that thing is gonna fucking nosedive. It's going to nosedive. I mean, you got to be thinking that as you just keep building another room. We're giving him $50 million. We'll give him $60 million. This is like what the Red Sox and Yankees did. The next thing you know, you got Eric Gagne up there fucking doing that shit. And then it's over. Then one day somebody just stands back and goes, what the fuck are we doing? But you got to do it. That's what back when I was coming up, it was that hair metal shit. Everybody blew out their hair, right? Said something about the devil, and then you had a little fucking ballad, and then you shot the ballad, right? And the ballad was always in black and white in the beginning. And then when the guitar solo finally came in, that's when it went into color. They just ride it into the fucking... I think that's what you do on that side of the business. You see a trend. This is where the money's going, and you just fucking jump on that horse. You don't stop for water. You just ride that thing until it dies. Then you get off the fucking thing, and you act like you never rode the horse. And, oh, dude, EDM, I can't even listen to that shit, even though you made like $1 zillion fucking dollars off of it. So, I don't know. I know I'm obviously in way over my head here. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I found it really fascinating. And I got to tell you, I'm happy for all those goddamn DJs, you know? I mean, you know what's great about their like stand-up comedy bubble here, this thing that they're fucking riding, is they are making money. They're going to be set for life. All right? So if there's any goddamn DJs listening to this fucking thing, I better not see you on some behind-the-music thing talking about how you blew your $50 million a fucking year. You should be set for life. Oh, my God. If I made $50 million in one fucking year, you figure, all right, you're giving away 10 to your agent, 10 to your manager. That's $10 million. Now you're down to $40 million. Then the government's going to come in and they're going to fucking whack you for at least half that. So you still got like $19 million bucks. Just go out and just buy a $5 billion piece of no, but then then you got to pay the property taxes on that. Someday when the DJ shit ends, buy like $1 million house in Alabama, right? Go down there in Alabama where everything's fucking cheap, or Arkansas, something like that, and just buy yourself a big spread, pay the fucker off, and then when the whole thing goes into the shitter and nobody cares about that music anymore because it's, you know, you got to wait 20 years until it becomes cool again. Because it goes down the shitter, and then the next decade, they got to have their own personality, so they got to hate on the decade before, but the decade before is always considered cool, right? Like right now, slowly the 90s are going to start coming back, you know? Like in the 90s, then the 80s, when I was coming up, everybody was into the 60s, and everybody thought the 70s sucked with disco and soft rock and all of that fucking shit. And then in the 90s, all of a sudden, the 70s became cool again, right? And there was all these movies like Boogie Nights and all of that fucking stuff. And all this disco music that everybody loved and then hated, then they loved it again. So, I'm calling this right now, like Paul Verzi. This DJ music is going to be considered the shit by a certain segment of the population. Okay? In the 2020s, everyone's been like, oh my God, it's fucking awful. Emperor's New Clothes. What was going on? And everybody stood there with glow sticks, pumping their fist in the fucking air. And then the hipsters of the 2030s, of the 30s, they're basically going to be like, I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. They'll be walking around with mouse heads on top of their fucking heads. Gee, Bill, that's really insightful. So you mean like nothing's going to change in the future? Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. Go fuck yourselves. All right, this is the Monday Morning Podcast. If you're new to the podcast, this is about as good as it gets. I hate to tell you. This is what I'm bringing to the table. And so if you want to leave, I totally understand.